I used to hunt pheasants and quail right across the street from my house on 8th East, 235 North 8th East. I used to hunt quail and pheasants there. And up in the foothills, up above the cemetery, quail and pheasants, sometimes rabbits, whatever. I loved growing up in Orem. I learned how to work because they had all of the fruit farms there, and that was the greatest lesson I've ever learned in my life. I went to Dixon Junior High until the 7th grade, and then we moved to Orem, 235 North 8th East. And when I came to Orem, there were a lot of gravel roads, including 8th East, and there was plenty of work working on the fruit farms. I used to pick fruit, hoe weeds and strawberry patches, package fruit, load fruit baskets or boxes on trucks, and so it was a good time for me. When I joined the police department, as I recall, it's been quite a few years ago, I think we had 2 police cars, very little crime. We had a few burglaries. It was a shock if we ever had a robbery or a murder. We had a volunteer fire department and a volunteer ambulance service, and Scott Wilkins was a grocery store owner, and I think his grocery store, you might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was on the northeast corner of, I believe, 4th South and 8th West, and if there was an ambulance, they would signal him with a red light, and he would drop everything he was doing and come over here to this location, Center Street and State Street, and drive the ambulance. But sometimes when he couldn't make it, and if we were on duty, I know many times I've driven the ambulance. I've even driven the fire truck and put out fires as a volunteer. I actually delivered 3 babies driving the ambulance. And I remember putting out a few fires in the fire truck. And I remember just down the hall, there was a jail after they built this building. Now, this building was not always here. It used to be just a little teeny dinky city hall with a fire station and an ambulance garage, and that was it. And I sure did love those reserve police officers. They were a real help to us and a great backup when we needed backup help. And they were citizens. They didn't get paid. They got paid for their uniforms and their training and what have you, but they didn't get paid. It was all volunteer. We rode as partners, and they were good backup. Most of them were very mature men and tremendous help. And I remember one thing that really stands out in my mind is there was a gentleman that worked down in Geneva Steel, and he would collect toys and gifts and things like this all year long, and he would save up these toys and gifts and Christmas trees and all kinds of packages, and then come Christmas time, the police department, we would find out who the needy people were, the children who who didn't have much money or what have you. And all of the reserve police officers would come in on Christmas, and we had Santa Claus there. The guy who collected all of these gifts all year long, he was Santa Claus. And he would ride with us in our police cars, and we'd go around to needy families and deliver Christmas. I mean, it'd just bring tears to your eyes when Santa Claus would jump out of the police cars, and we'd take in the gifts and take in the Christmas trees and decorate their Christmas trees inside of these needy people's homes, these poor people's homes. See the looks on the children's faces, and Santa Claus actually visited. Not only did Santa Claus come and bring gifts and trees, but the police gave him an escort on Christmas Day. There was a feeling in Orem about friendship and love, from the police department to the neighbors to the church. I never did feel threatened in Orem. I grew up feeling very safe in Orem. And when I come down here right now, as old as I am, I still get that feeling. And my wife, I think, can verify there's a loving feeling here in Orem. And I don't know whether it's all memories or whether I see Mount Timpanogos and Cascade Mountain and all of that stuff. I don't know what's causing it, but there's a feeling that comes over me, and I call Orem City my home.